So are you wondering why you're still being breadcrumbed? Are you wondering why you're always breadcrumbed? Well, I have a secret, and it's not such a secret. It is because 1, you allow it, 2, you respond to it, and 3, you allow it. My name is Flora. I'm the founder of Redo Love, and I help you stop self-sabotaging your relationships so that you can find your ideal partner in just 8 weeks guaranteed. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like, leave a comment, and let's get this thing going. The reason that you are being breadcrumbed is because you are allowing it. You see, I know this because I've had this shift in my own dating experience. Not only am I a dating coach, but I'm actually a dater. And after being divorced with 2 kids, I jumped into the dating market with 2 feet, 3 if I had them, and have been through every single dating experience possible. Not only that, but I'm also a coach and a matchmaker. So my life is literally dating all of the time. And I can tell you that without a shadow of a doubt, that people that don't get breadcrumbed, it's because they do not participate in the crumbing. They do not go after each breadcrumb. They don't respond to the breadcrumbs, okay? So I'm gonna tell you a personal story. I went on 3 dates with this guy. He was very much a lot of the things on my list. On paper, he was great. But what I was noticing was that he was not great at keeping up communication between dates. He would plan the dates and he would say kind of like a hello in the morning, and it just wasn't enough for me. And I was far enough in my healing journey at that point and feeling a lot more secure as a dater. Very quickly after the 3rd date, let him know that despite the fact that, we get along, I don't think that our communication styles mesh enough, and I don't think that this is going to work out. At first receptive, and then about a week later, he called me. He told me he missed me, that he wanted to, really like work on it, see if we can make something work again. And I thought, hey, if you're making this much of an effort, we've only been on 3 dates and you're that interested, why not? We tried again. Again, the communication lapsed, and again, things just, went by the wayside. But this guy would text me every once in a while. Now, at the time that he came back a week later, he was telling me that he couldn't sleep, that he, just kept thinking about me. And so he seemed really, really interested. So after, we ended things that 2nd time, he would text me every, let's say, month. He would say something like, hello, Flora, or good morning, and I would respond and say, hey, how's it going? And sometimes he would respond with an answer and then stop responding. Other times, he wouldn't even respond. Other times, we would get maybe in a little bit of a conversation, but didn't go anywhere. And so I couldn't understand, what was his intent? Why are you texting me? Very simply, what do you want? And now, mind you, this went on for 8 months. Now, let me explain something. I, again, was at the state in my healing journey where this was low effort for me. It didn't feel like anything. It didn't, I wasn't emotionally attached to this guy, so I didn't care. He would text. I'm a responder. I like to respond to people. I think it's rude not to respond, so I would respond. But I would always get that annoyed feeling, what do you want? Why are you even texting me if you're not going to take this any further? And, especially given how interested he had been to begin with. About 8 months in, somehow we finally decided took the conversation long enough that we were going to meet, or that we should get on a phone call. So we got on a phone call. We finally get on this phone call, and I say to him, I don't understand why all this time you're texting me, but you've never initiated a date or tried to move it further. I'm really confused. And at first he said, well, I think I recognize, that you're really serious, and I got to get really serious if I want to be with you. And I was like, okay, that's nice. And then he said, but the thing about you, Flora, the thing about you is that you always, always respond. And I was like, yep, I do know this about myself. I do know this. Yes, I do. And basically, after another miscommunication or poor communication on his part, I finally blocked this guy, okay? What is the lesson here? And there's a lot more than you think there is that is just on the surface. Now, mind you, at this point, like I said, I was on my healing journey. It was low effort. It wasn't that much of a bother, but it did constantly leave this annoyance in me. Like, what do you want? Why are you texting me, right? And so that curiosity, which I'll explain the air quotes in a minute, drove me to continue to respond to him. And again, I didn't think he's not a bad guy or anything, right? We just had different communication styles. So what is that curiosity really about? Now, you may know by now or not know by now, but I'm an integrated attachment specialist, and this is what I do, right? And so I understand things from an attachment style perspective. Now, you may have heard about attachment styles, you may know a lot about attachment styles, but attachment styles aren't just necessarily the descriptors that you read, those basic like, oh, anxious is clingy and avoidance are pull away, and all that kind of basic stuff, right? They really refer to how you subconsciously process and what your subconscious motivations are. What I was really doing as somebody who has been primarily anxiously attached, I am now secure, and I was a lot more secure on the spectrum at that stage when I was interacting with this guy. But with anxious attachment, there's always this deep desire to hold on to relationship, to have relationship, to be in relationship, right? So as somebody who's anxiously attached, you know, even if it was a smaller percentage at that point, I was still trying to hold on to relationship. I was still trying to leave the door open for potential relationship. I was still trying to please him, not make him feel bad, right? So that I could potentially at some point end up in relationship. But what I was really doing was getting myself annoyed, putting myself in a bad headspace. Now, even though this was this much, like a very small part of my like whole emotional state, and it only took, you know, a minute to just be like, oh, that's so annoying. This was still something I was keeping in my existence, allowing for people to breadcrumb me. I was allowing for this type of behavior. I was doing it with him, but yes, I was also doing it with others. And there was a little annoyance with this one, and there was a little annoyance with that one, and there was a little annoyance with that one. And at the end of it, when you all add it all up, I was being breadcrumbed, right? Just for the sake of leaving potential relationship open. Now, secure people, they don't do this kind of thing, okay? They just don't waste time with breadcrumbing, with people who breadcrumb. One time, two time text, okay, but then by the third time, you're just kind of like, I'm not responding to this because why would I respond to somebody who's like barely responds back or doesn't initiate or doesn't take this where I want it to go? If you are responding to somebody who is breadcrumbing you, you are the problem, not their breadcrumbing. They will continue to breadcrumb as long as you allow. Any response becomes positive feedback. So if you're responding, why wouldn't they continue to breadcrumb you? Because you are responding to it. Now you're going to tell me, oh, I really like this person, or oh, I really have feelings. But ask yourself what you're really doing to your internal understanding of yourself. Because every time you allow somebody to even annoy you for a minute, okay, like even in that sense that he was just annoying me, that like, why are you texting me? Like, what's the point here? Even that level of annoyance still feeds your subconscious a narrative that you're not worth a response, right? And you responding validates that, and actually is your subconscious is actually searching for that type of validation, because your subconscious is comfortable with the familiar, right? So let's say that again. Your subconscious is comfortable with the familiar. So as somebody who's anxiously attached, you have a low internal sense of self, and you allow people to treat you in a way that represents that and that shows that. And that is what your subconscious is constantly looking for. So if you do not want to be breadcrumbed, do not respond. It's simple. It's easy. Do not respond to low effort behavior. And that is it. And even if you like the person, even if you think you're in love, even if, and if it's that bad, it is time to get on a call. Click the link below. I have 5 grants available for the first 5 people that book a program with me. So get on this free love assessment now. The link is below. Do not stop, do not wait, because these are going to be gone before Valentine's Day.